LIVETRU, and today I wanted to make a video on something that came up recently. I've had some questions about this, and specifically a comment. I got a notification that a comment came through about a video that was posted 9 years ago. And I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna make a video about this. And so I'll discuss that, and I do have my cameraman sitting in front of me, and he's likely gonna have some questions. He's a friend of mine as well, and someone that I've done some coaching with. And so this particular topic is something that he's interested in, and he'll likely be able to ask some questions after I discuss some things. The topic is fasting, as you probably saw from the title already. I did an extended fast 9 years ago. I actually would have forgotten when that was had that video not come to my attention. I have not seen that video for years, and so it was really funny to see that. And I will put that video, that link down below, or maybe I can embed it somehow. But at the time, I was experiencing some pretty hefty health challenges. And I was actually a raw vegan at the time. It was towards the end of that experience and that journey. And I wasn't feeling well. And so I had also recently, it was probably a year prior, had a heavy metal poisoning. And this was pretty serious, enough to take me to one of the leading, or if not the top, and I wish I could remember his name, doctors in the whole nation. He happened to be in a teaching college near my home, and it's in Tempe, Arizona. And he was at SCNM, College for Naturopathic Medicine, and he was in a teaching position there as well as practicing. So I was able to see him. He was an environmental toxicologist or something like that, but he did environmental poisoning. And so he ran a bunch of tests on me, and it was confirmed that I had high levels for 3 things: arsenic, I think, I wish I could find my reports again, aluminum, and I think lead. I'm not sure about that, but anyway, I had encephalopathy, and so that's a swelling of the brain, or inflammation, I think. It's been a while since I've looked into all these things. So I was having a lot of symptoms. You know what? I'm still not the same today. This was something that probably affected the rest of my life. So I had that. I just wasn't feeling well. I had a lot of cleansing to do, detoxification, things like that. So I went to this center in Costa Rica, Tanglewood Health Center. I'm not sure what he's calling it today with Lauren Lockman. But I had met him in person in town here in Arizona. And so I went out there and I did a 21-day water fast, believe it or not. I think I started out at 100 and, you know what, I think I told you 125, but I think I was more than that. I gained weight to go there. I was about 130, 31, and I got my notes recently. I lost 15, 17 pounds, something like that. I was very thin when I left. So I wanted to just do a little recap. There had been some comments on that thread that they would love to know where I am today. So it is 9 years later. Let's talk about what happened to me right after as far as diet goes. I did not stay on the raw vegan diet. I tried to stay on that diet. It was not serving me. And I came to the conclusion, once I started adding in some safe proteins for me, that I was extremely protein deficient. I was not even able to hold my urine. I was running to the bathroom like I was 70 years old, and I was not being successful sometimes. So I was so protein deficient that my body was taking protein that I had in my body, trying to use it. I was really skinny and I didn't have a lot of energy. I just wasn't feeling well. It wasn't working for me. So I did add in protein sources that were acceptable to me, and I started to feel tremendously better, and I was able to actually function like a normal 40-something-year-old, and I didn't have to rush to the bathroom, and I didn't not make it sometimes. So that normalized. That was one of the first things that normalized for me. So I do, I don't want to make this video too long, but I do believe that a raw vegan, even let's start with this, a raw vegan diet is really good to do, but I think it's a cleansing diet, and I've had a lot of training since then with my eating psychology training, and I've come to learn that different diets are for different periods in your life, and it's a tool. Diets are a tool, and the raw vegan diet, which is used by natural hygienists, and I was definitely into natural hygiene for 2 years. It's a great diet, but it didn't serve me after the first year. So the fast, as far as the success of the fast goes, the heavy metal issue, I don't think was touched at all with that fast. I also don't agree with the way the fast was done, in the sense that, you know, there was other people there. I wasn't the only one, but you know, you don't poop while you're there. Like, you know, you get your last meal is sitting. My last meal was sitting in there for 3 weeks, and that wasn't good. That can't be good. So there are some people that do fast like that, and they do colon irrigation during that. I would highly recommend. That's my own opinion. That's what I wished I would have done. I think I would have felt a lot better. I think I would have cleansed more. Yeah. So there was that, and so. Where are the heavy metals going to go? You know, urine is only one way that it can, you know, get out of you. I think in that respect, maybe through your skin and things like that. But you know, I don't think it did anything in that regard. So I think it was just my diligence throughout the years. You know, with taking supplements that can help with heavy metal detox. I can't say it was anything specific that I did that helped me. And again, I don't feel like I'm 100%. Of what I could have been before that, but I don't think it did anything, just my opinion. I did talk about my heart issues, I think my breathing issues. It did clear up during that time, and it came back. And I noticed, if you see my nanopolycosanol video on this channel, you'll see that it is cleared up from taking that product. So there's some kind of inflammation issue there that I have, and with fasting is a dynamic tool that you can use. It will clear up a lot of things because your body is able to go in supersonic cleansing mode, let's say, and the inflammation will just go down. Somebody came in who was morbidly obese, and his high blood pressure went right down. You know, you really don't have a lot of the health issues that you come to the table with when, pun intended, come to the table with when you're eating. So in the interview, Lauren had stated that the magnesium in my body was available because I said I was feeling loosey-goosey and like my neck felt better and all of that. You know, I just think it was a decrease in inflammation is what I think it was. It wasn't necessarily a magnesium issue because I was taking in any magnesium. So I can't think of anything else specifically about the video that, if anyone has any questions after you see the video and have questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them in the comments or make another video. But now I can talk. I know Aaron had some questions, and I can answer them, and maybe the same questions that you guys have. So, shoot.
Any advice for an obese person in intermittent fasting versus full-on fasting?
Excellent question. So the difference between intermittent fasting and full-on fasting is that once you, so when you're fasting and you're not taking any, so when I say water-only fasting, there's a reason why I say that. Because fasting, and I learned a lot from Lauren, and I have great respect for him. What he taught, or maybe Doug, I was also kind of a student of Doug Graham as well. But one of those things that one of those gentlemen taught me, maybe both of them, is that the word fast means you're not doing something. So if you're juice fasting, technically that means you're not drinking juice. So if you're water fasting, you're technically not drinking water. So people that say I'm fasting, they're not really using the term, you know, right? So that's why I say water only fasting. So with that said, when I say water only fasting, that's what I mean. So when you are water only fasting for days and days and days, the results get exponentially higher, meaning that like after especially the third day, you dig a lot deeper into your body and what your body needs to cleanse out. And if you stop that process, you gotta kind of start all over again. Your body has to go through the muscle glycogen to get through those sugars. You have to get through what's in your digestive tract. That takes a few days to get through that. And on the third day, right around there, you start to really get into the apoptosis, which is the cleaning out of old cell debris. And your body's going to use, think about it, your body's wise, you know, and what it wants to do is it knows it wants to maintain homeostasis, wants to get to there, and it wants to use up stuff that it knows it needs to get rid of. So it's going to get rid of the debris first. It makes sense. So the apoptosis is the programmed cell death, and so what it would do is your body is going to clean up old stuff. And so when you're doing intermittent fasting, that's simply eating in like an 8-hour window or a 6-hour window, right? And so that's excellent, but it's going to take you a lot longer compared to if you were to do just a 10-day fast. You're going to make a lot more progress because you have already gone through that initial stage of the first few days, and you're getting into some really deep cleansing. And then one more day and it's deeper, one more day and it's deeper, you know. And I kid you not, like those fasts are not easy at all. And I worked up to that, by the way, that 21-day fast. I did a 10-day fast at home on my own. And I did plenty of ones that were shorter than that. So, but you know, not to say that you have to do it that way, but you know, that was wise to me. But yeah, so does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
And what about, you mentioned skin. Is there a benefit to any kind of fasting and like acne or eczema or hives?
So your skin is your largest organ, they say, right? And it's true. So your skin is one of the ways that your body cleanses. Breath, your lungs, through your skin, bowels. So things came out of my skin, I think, during that time. And when I fast, if I think back, it's been a while since I fasted that long. But yeah, things will come out of your skin. So if you already have things coming out of your skin, what you're first doing is you're stopping the food that's going in. You're kind of shutting down your digestion. Your energy can then be used for cleansing, for your body's just like, yes, let's get the work done. And so it might get worse, but if you already have acne, maybe for some people it would actually clear up quite quickly.
So it's worth a try.
Yeah, definitely.
What about insulin and diabetes?
That's a good question too. I'm trying to think of, right away I was thinking of somebody who was diabetic that came into that center. I don't recall specifically if they were, how they were controlling their diabetes, if they were on insulin or not. So I can't speak to that as far as that goes. Type 2 diabetes, where it's mostly controlled by diet, I wish I could remember the specific circumstances, but a lot of, I know Lauren and Doug both, they fast people with different ailments and conditions that you wouldn't think would be safe. And there's some that are not safe, but very few. And blood sugar tends to be, Lauren did check blood sugar every day, every morning. We checked that and blood pressure just to make sure everyone was generally good. And everyone's blood sugar was pretty even, you know, no matter what. So it's amazing, you know, that it can stabilize. So I can't really speak to that too deeply though.
I heard a rumor that because of my intermittent fasting and my obesity, I was close to being diabetic.
Okay.
So I was pre-diabetes. And
because of the intermittent fasting?
Not because of the intermittent fasting, but because of my obesity, that there might be some insulin resistance in my body.
Yeah.
And metabolic syndrome.
Sure.
So I tried intermittent fasting for 2 years. I was able to keep 15 pounds off, but that was about it.
Okay.
I need to take off more.
Right.
But I heard and read that it can help regulate insulin by fasting intermittently.
Intermittent fasting?
Yeah.
Probably true. And by the way, I've intermittent fasted for years. Not always strictly, strictly more a few years ago. So I'm familiar with that. You know, I know you and I have talked about that at great length. So I'm familiar with that. I've probably been on every diet there possibly can be, tried everything. And I was pre-diabetic too, according to my
H1C.
H1C. I want to say H1C, but is it A1C? Is it
A1C?
A1C? I was like, where's the H come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, A1C. I was borderline. So yeah, and that's when I started my intermittent fasting, and yeah, so I'm not anymore. But I've done a ton of stuff. So yeah, I don't know if that answered your question too.
Yep. Okay. It's all good to hear. And I had another question I can't think of right now, but just what about what was it like in the first 10 days of your 21-day fast?
Good question.
Yeah.
It was hard. Okay, it was hard. I was nervous going into the experience because it was just a long time to be without food, and I was already lean. So I was a little nervous about that. I knew I didn't have a lot of weight to lose, and Lauren over and over and over said not to worry about it. You know, he had met me in person. He himself is very lean, so you know, I had that. But with me, as well as most people that were there, the hardest part was what's going on in your mind. You are so obsessed with food. Oh, there's one thing I want to talk about too. One of the things, remind me about the body composition if I forget. But you're so obsessed with food. I was writing down recipes. I think I had internet, must have had internet out there, and I was researching recipes. It was not healthy, you know, as far as that goes. There were some things I was able to get through. You will meet your demons when you don't eat for that long. There was some pretty heavy stuff coming up for me and other people, because food is a way that we fill the void. Food is a way that we distract ourselves. And when you don't have that, just the habit of going into the kitchen or opening the refrigerator, it's better not to be at home, I think, in that regard, because then you're not by your own refrigerator. You don't have the same patterns of behavior. But in some sense, it could be more difficult because maybe you don't feel comfortable, but and you're with strangers. But yeah, so the first 10 days was actually easier than the last 10 days. The last 10 days, it got harder and harder for me. I was so kind of anxious. I don't know if anxious is the right word. Couldn't wait till it was over. I'd probably never do it again. And let's talk about after. So I did want to talk about body composition. So for me, I don't have muscle to lose. I'm pretty lean. It's my natural body composition. Not that I can't be overweight, but it just doesn't, you know, happen too easy for me. So what happened, I noticed after, was I didn't necessarily lose muscle, but I was just really mushy, you know, after. And you know, I like to be fit, and I like to, you know, be strong. And afterwards, I was just mush, and I tried to stay on the raw vegan diet. It was mostly a fruitarian diet, not just raw vegan, but it was fruitarian. And so it was the 80-20 principle of, most people are familiar with 80-10-10. Maybe not most people, but most people in the raw vegan groups. So I just couldn't get the muscle back on. I couldn't get the strength back. So I was very unhappy with my physique afterwards. Now that's just me and my body composition, and how now a lot of people will say, no, it doesn't do that. I was strong after, I kept my muscle, or, you know, I know people that are just naturally husky. I think you're not. Are you naturally husky?
Yeah.
Okay, naturally husky. And so you might have a little bit that you can afford to lose. I don't, as far as muscle goes. So and you might lose, you know, most of it in fat and some of it in muscle, and you'd be like, great. Mm-hmm. And me, no, I can't do that. So that was one thing I was really unhappy with, is I wasn't able to bounce back until I changed my diet. And it took a while. I don't think I looked good when I left, and even after, I think I looked just really.
You look tired in that video.
Yeah.
That was what, day 4?
Day 8.
Day 8.
I was tired, and it needs to be said that I was petrified of the camera. He had to talk me into doing that video. I've gotten a lot better on camera now. I've done a lot of camera work since then. And so I was scared. And so that was probably some of the tidbitness that looked like I was weak. But I was weak. Yeah, so.
Do you have any advice for the people who get off the fast and gain all their weight back?
You know, and that's one thing, I'm glad you brought that up, that happens all the time, I think in most cases. And this yo-yoing, you know, the bouncing, I think fasting is a really good way to cleanse. And I wish we didn't have to do that. But it's also a pretty good way to gain fat back. Because here's the thing, is that it takes a lot longer to build up muscle, but it takes weeks or days to get fat back on your body. So I really tried to control what I was taking in as far as calories go, the amount of food. I don't like to use the word calories necessarily, but the amount of food. But I was so hungry. But I wasn't just hungry for fuel. I was hungry for protein. I was hungry for vegetables, like cooked vegetables, and that was one thing I wasn't even doing.
Your body
So
was cannibalizing its muscle.
it
probably.
was very good, very well said. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's one of the cons to the water fasting. Not for everybody, you know, but for some people, and it was for me. I just didn't do well until I totally changed my diet to what worked for me, and started to be able to train hard.
What do you eat day one after your 21-day fast?
You are very careful. What I ate was, I remember eating, I think, coconut water. I asked for coconut water first. He gives you a choice. Papaya was on the menu, a mango. So I had coconut water first, and then I think I had mango, I think. And fresh coconut water, like it's like he puts the straw in the coconut, and they're, you know, right there in Costa Rica, so it's the best ever. So then, you know, you eat very high water fruit and that's of course what he suggests and what natural hygienists suggest that you eat for the rest of your life, you know, fruit. So yeah, that's what I did for a long time, you know, and after all of my extended fast I did at home, that's what I did. You don't want to eat eggs necessarily. I know that you came across that once, but you don't necessarily want to do that, you know. I think especially after 21-day fast, your digestion is shut down, you know. You have to be very gentle with it after that. Yeah.
Good.
So.
And I guess as far as dieting goes, if you're disciplined, fasting is a great way to cleanse, but is it necessary multiple times a year, or is it a personal issue? Or,
you know, I think, was it, repeat it, was it cleansing you asked me
like
about?
cleansing every year,
Yes.
once or more?
I think every day you should be cognizant of it. I think there's levels of cleansing. Every day we should know that our body is cleansing. Every day, every second, we're cleansing. You're not done with it. You're never done with it. So every day you should be cognizant of what you can do that day that is going to bring you, either maintain your health or bring you closer to health. And then on a weekly basis, monthly basis, seasonal basis, I think, you know, a lot of the health, you know, savvy people talk about seasonal cleansing, like specific, like maybe just doing green juices, maybe doing a formula that you can buy in, you know, capsules and things. I think all of those things can be good. It's very tailored to the person, and that's why I work with people one-on-one. As you know how difficult it is, sometimes you can't just, you try to employ things that didn't work, and it's a waste of money, and it really needs to be tailored.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, I don't think once a year is enough in today's world, honestly.
And certain competitors, like bodybuilders who pose on stage, they're cutting, and wrestlers are cutting, you have to make weight. Are they doing healthy fasts?
Usually they're not. Usually the bodybuilders and those in, you know, high-level sports you think are healthy are not. There's been a lot of research and study on metabolic syndrome and if fasting and these cutting diets are harming you, and I've seen convincing evidence in both camps. So I, at the end of the day, after all of this, like, okay, I've seen both evidence, both ways. What have I noticed in myself? What I've noticed in myself is every time I did a fast, an extended fast, I lost muscle that was very hard to get on again, if I could at all, and I was gaining fat in places I didn't want to gain fat. And so I haven't done a long fast for a long time because of that reason. So for me, intermittent fasting works for me better. I've done the hard stuff, I think. I've done my time. And the daily diet and trying to keep the bad stuff out for me is better. But that's not right for everybody, so.
And if you don't have insurance and you work with, let's say, a nutritionist or a naturopath, and they send you for blood work, is that a good thing to do on your own if you can find blood work while you're fasting, just to look at results before and after?
That would be great. Yeah, that would be great. I love to get test results. Now I understand the limitations of tests. You know, blood serum, it's a snapshot into your body. It's not sort of the most accurate thing, but and you also have to see patterns. You can't just go by one set of labs. So I love to see clients' labs. Yeah, but I also know the limitations of that. And yeah, to have that kind of data before and after would be good. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and a heavy metals test probably.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna end it here. This hopefully was helpful to you. And if you have any questions, like I said, just put it in the comments, and I can make another video, or I can answer the questions there. So this is Terry Lynn with LiveTru, and I hope you have the best health ever.